Images out of Florida last month of children running for their lives yet again made an impression on retired Keene police officer John Stewart.
We started having conversations in our house about what we can do and how we can prevent future incidences from happening in New Hampshire.
Stewart began working on language for what's known as red flag legislation that would allow police to remove firearms from someone who poses a threat. Under current New Hampshire law, that can only be done when the threat is imminent. Stewart's red flag bill would allow police to initiate that process earlier.
Only law enforcement can be the petitioners. So unlike these other red flag bills where anybody can be the petitioner, we want to make sure that due process and there's the checks and balances.
In the position or like take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of fires. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Police gave us an up-close look at how this so-called red flag law is working. And what's remarkable is the lack of conflict and controversy as police go and seize guns from people who are deemed to be a danger to themselves or others. There is plenty of due process built into the law, and that's the key. Immediate family members and police can petition for an ERPO, or Extreme Risk Protection Order. A judge weighs the evidence and usually signs the petition. Then police serve it and ask the subject to surrender his or her guns. Sometimes they don't, often they do hand them over. If they refuse, police get a search warrant and get the guns that way. In 9 months, they've confiscated 27 guns here in Seattle from 13 people. Police are careful not to be heavy-handed, and so far they have not had a big confrontation.
We've had 3 individuals that have specifically thanked us after the execution of the ERPO order, because to their admission, they agreed that it was probably not a good idea that they had firearms in play.
31-year-old Alexander McKenzie, who according to court documents is a veteran being treated for PTSD, had been acting strange and staring down customers at a pizza restaurant while carrying a handgun. The police were called and they petitioned for the order. A few days later, they had the gun, and McKenzie told us he was grateful. Only 6 states have these red flag laws, but in the wake of the mass tragedies in Parkland, Florida, and the church shooting in Texas, many more are considering them. So far in Washington State, there has not been a complaint that gun rights were violated.
We've seen the downside to people who are distraught or crazy, taking out their problems on the general public. We don't want that to happen.
These laws are a major priority for the Brady campaign, and they are being considered right now in 30 states.
Start by saying that not one of these pieces of legislation are going to reduce gun violence. In fact, when the legislators who proposed them were repeatedly asked those questions during committee hearings, as I'm sure you can guess, not one of them was able to actually answer that question.
Well, if they had banned all guns, short of confiscating them, I don't think any of us here at the table would believe that it would reduce gun violence. But so tell me, what did they actually do?
Well, a number of the pieces of legislation that they passed, basically what they do is they make it more restrictive, or they restrict the rights of law-abiding citizens. As you know, most gun, whether it's gun bans or gun restrictions or reporting requirements, have absolutely nothing to do with those who actually commit gun crimes, because guess what? They're not going to follow the law anyway. So basically what it winds up doing is it winds up putting additional restrictions on law.